Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute. We are back with my IP here. This is the alternate history book, Fey Earth, written by me, the alternative history of Earth from a World, the Dorian Astrapio series. Yes, this is available on my website. Fulfillment is handled by Amazon, where I self-published it. Go ahead and pick that up. I believe it is 15-20 bucks, somewhere in there. Okay, it does have full pictures, full picture maps, and flags like you see, which, by the way, you can get in this format behind me. You used to be able to get them fabric. I had several of those hanging behind me for a while, but I decided to get rid of them. Anyway, so on to the actual subject of the video, since I've done my shameless plug, the Sons of Man. Now, I do have a little quote that I want to open up with that I wrote. Come here, you. Sons of Man. In the name of the divine light of our most heavenly Father, and in his Son the Savior, we do come forth in effort to extinguish the unholy abominations that are the Fae. It is our solemn and sacred duty to bring together all men and women that are human, and regardless of creed, race, or nation. It is our solemn and sacred duty to destroy all members of the Fae that we find. For it is through his work that we shall save humanity from the grasp of evil and from never-ending darkness. Thus it is by his holy name that we call ourselves the Sons of Man. For it is in his name that we work. We are the light in the shadows. We are the weapon that brings peace. We are the knights now modern. We are the saviors of humanity. We are the Sons of Man, and we shall find them wherever they lurk. Jacob Fredericks, founder of the Sons of Man, 1846. Now, I'm not going to dive into that history quite yet. First, I want to talk to you a little thing about what is known as the Oath of Secrecy in this world. See, in our timeline, we had a thing called the Black Death, okay? Otherwise known as the Plague. By the way, the Plague still pops up every so often. It's called bubonic plague. It is spread by fleas that bite rats that harbor Yersinia pestis, which, by the way, is a bacteria that's been plaguing humanity for a very, very long time. There would be outbreaks of it every so often, in as far back as probably pre-Paleolithic. Okay, like we were not even verbal at the time. Okay, but one of the worst outbreaks came in the early 1300s due to increased trade with the East. Stuff just migrated around, and the locals didn't have a immunity to that particular strain of the bacteria, and it just spread like wildfire. Not only that, there were issues with cleanliness, especially in the big cities. We hadn't quite figured out, sanitation. Ew. Anyway, in this timeline, the Fae were blamed. You see, before then, Fae were out. You'd live next to, you'd be in say northern Germany, you'd be human, living next to an ogre family, and be friends. Ish. Or, your mayor would be Valkyrie, or your king would be Sullus, or something like that. It wasn't a big deal, okay? You didn't necessarily intermingle with them, but, you'd work together, you'd go to church together, what have you, okay? Wasn't a big deal. Well, because of the plague, the Fae got blamed. Now, in our timeline, in many areas, it was the Jews. So, that became a problem. But in this one, it was the Fae. So, height of the Black Death. Leaders of all of the Fae peoples in Europe got together in, I want to say Vienna, but I don't remember exactly. I may not have even said that. Let's double check, shall we? Okay. So, cutting, so what happened was they decided to go underground, and here's why. The humans, seeing this, fought back the racial wars in their ever-dwindling population. Still burgeoning religion of Christianity had become more hardline and branded the Fae as being demons. They were in league with the devil. So for self-preservation, the wiser members of the Fae community, instead of lashing out, said, look, all populations are dwindling. If we fight, it's going to get nasty. So what will happen is eventually we'll hit a population bottleneck and we won't be able to successfully breed, and then we're wiped out anyway. Same thing with the humans. It's not going to work. So out of self-preservation, they turned themselves into a myth. Okay? They basically sent out notice to everyone in Europe, Middle East, etc. We don't exist anymore. Okay? If anybody asks if this is what you are, ask them, I don't know. Do my feet look backwards to you? Okay. Do I have bark for skin? Are my eyes glowing? No. Then guess what? I'm just like you. Okay? So they started to perpetuate these folklore myths about the Fae. The falsities, the complete different variations. A lot of these took on the names of various sub-tribes within the breeds. Okay? Like a bunch of tribes of ogres, so you got the Oni, you've got all of this weird other stuff. You got these wild things running around in folklore, and these were ridiculous because nobody could actually find any of them. And as the stories spread out, they warped and changed as new stuff got added on. As one guy, be it human, started adding on something weird, another guy, he was Fae, added on something else, until it was absolutely nothing like reality. As a result, they faded into obscurity and myth, and they were able to blend in. Okay? So, they teach their kids, yes, this is what you are, but we don't say nothing. Well, every now and again, we'd get some, what is known as a young Turk popping up saying, yeah, this is dumb. Okay? There's no reason we should do this. Okay? Let's come out and say it. Well, for a few centuries, that was a death sentence. What the family would do is they would ostracize them, they'd banish them out into nowhere without any survival skills or ability, and bye-bye. Or they just, yeah. So, they realized somewhere the 1800s wasn't the best idea. So, they just teach them a lesson. Okay, restrict them from public view, stuff like that. Okay, disown them, things like that. Totally discredit them. Basically make them look crazy. Okay? And it held. Well, Dorian comes up, and I go into this in book 3. It's under, as I'm recording this video, it is under creation right now. I am producing the work. I'm about 71,000 words in. I'm looking for 100K. And he says, we're not going to do this. Well, that's where the Sons of Man come in. You see, Sons of Man were created in order to push back against the Fae because of what happened in the antebellum era. And that's where we get to here. Sons of Man were originally founded in Kansas City, Missouri in 1848, 2 years after the guy made the quote. Okay, officially founded. Following the events surrounding various townspeople who were thought to be witches. After investigation and interrogation, it was found that these people were in fact Fae and included representatives from the Valkyrie, Ogre, Sylph, and Elf breeds. So these are Northern Europeans. Okay? They've settled in Kansas during a time in history that was the Kansas land grab. I can't remember what we called it in our timeline. Feel free to comment on that and refresh my memory. So the micro-community numbered merely 38 individuals ranging in ages from teens to elderly. Each was hanged in dropgate fashion and then shot and then in the head point blank to ensure that they were in fact done. Yes, I changed words. It was in response to this that Jacob Fredericks, a freed slave and preacher, founded the Sons of Man. He saw how dangerous the Fae were. He saw their strength, speed, and power as a very obvious threat. The Sons of Man would grow quickly among the landed and educated elites in the Middle States in the form of a secret society. The way they would come to know each other is they would ask, "Are you a ham sandwich?" Because it's unclean. If you say, "Why do you ask?" No, you're not part of the group. Okay. The correct answer is, I am not a ham sandwich. I am a human and a warrior. Okay, something along those lines, and that's the pass. Okay. So the reason is he was very, very fundamentalist in his beliefs and was using kosher law because kosher law bans pork products. Okay? So, certain jurisdictions noticed the increased covert Fae activity. More soldiers were deemed necessary, and recruitment extended into the working class. By 1868, which is Reconstruction, most of the society was blue-collar, with a stark minority being educated past basic literacy. With the racial hysteria following the Union's victory over the Southern Rebellion, yes, it's named differently, many of the dissident and anti-emancipation groups were absorbed into the Sons of Man. Instead of hunting Fae, they hunted former slaves. However, because the society's founder was a freed slave, a purge was enacted and these individuals, along with their ideology, were expunged. Okay? Because of the ubiquity of the chapters reaching out from Kansas City and to all coastlines, the necessity to maintain not only a hidden presence but also a pleasing presence became vital. Sons of Man adopted a public persona similar to the Freemasons that were simply a social group of people that shared similar views on politics and other things. This stance was made official by 1883. With the start of the Great War, the ideology of the Sons of Man spread into Europe and the Middle East. It was at this time that their official stand of the society became even more egalitarian as Americans came to interact with Muslims, Jews, and various other religions filled with humans that knew something was not quite right. Through the 1920s and 1930s, covert Minecrafting events and disappearances took their toll with the Fae populations in several countries. When the Great Roman War broke out, the Sons of Man faded into the background, where the society quietly worked to grow its economic base and influence. By 1960, there was a chapter of YTA, which is the abbreviation for the Greek words Sons of Man, in every major university in the U.S. This served as a means of recruitment while also providing an avenue for members to find places in society. Less than 10% of the initiates were granted the full knowledge of the purpose of the society. Recruitment was not only done through universities, but also through websites and select businesses in any given city. The first indication of the business is found in its name. The name of the business will be YTA, something like that, like Youngstown Total Auto Body would be a Sons of Man location, okay? Or SOM. So it would be like Special Operations Manufacturing would be a Sons of Man installation, okay? And I believe that's taken from the book, okay? Websites will also have a semi-hidden area where the qualifying questions are asked and then a meeting location is given upon successful completion. Literal underground bunkers are common in cities when their construction is easy to complete. These are entered through hidden passageways and trick doors, cleverly hidden from casual view. Further questions under armed threat are conducted with the purpose being to deter any unwanted individuals from gaining access, whether or not they're human. Okay? Once a new member is confirmed, the work begins and is focused on training and education on the nature of the Fae. This is more modern day, by the way. The end goal of the organization is to eradicate the Fae from the world and for only humans to be left alive. Now, not going to go into the rest of it, but there's something that they don't understand, okay? A handful of individuals within the organization know the absolute truth about it, and that is something you're going to have to read the novels to understand. So, the Sons of Man, looking at this, I want to ask you a question, okay? Are they good guys or bad guys? Okay? Well, I would say, purposely going after an entire group of people merely because of their genetics, probably not the good guys. I'm just saying. Then again, conceivably, the Fae pose an existential threat to humans. Okay? We saw that in the first book with Serena. We see it in the second book with Tim. And there's probably other ones out there too, just biding their time or, gathering power or what have you. So, the question is, again, are they the good guys or the bad guys? I want to leave that up to you, okay? Watching my videos, reading my books, feel free to comment on it, okay? I want to see videos. I want to see fan fiction. Yes, on my website there is an area for you to submit your fan fiction. I'm happy to read it, okay? So go ahead and check that out. I will be back later with something else. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I want to know what you think, okay? Go ahead and let me know. Follow me on Twitter, and my handle is in the description. I'll see you later. You take care now. Bye-bye.